Well, that'll be that. Baseball season's over. The World Series has concluded. The Yankees won. Obviously props to them. They had a great season, and they really controlled things nicely throughout the whole playoffs. They never really looked like they were about to blow it. They never really looked like they were in any real danger. They just went out there and took care of it. So where do you start with something like this? So from the Yankees' perspective, they won in 6. They won this game 7-3. Really played a great game. Pettit gave them almost 6 solid innings. Gave up 3 runs. 5 walks is a bit troubling, but nothing too bad. He was very solid out there. Joba went out there, pitched well. Rivera obviously got a long save. He had to throw 41 pitches, but did really solid. And the hitting was there. Matsui was obviously a monster early in the game. Matsui pretty much put the game in a place where the Yankees already had it won, and then some other guys piled on, like Teixeira, I think. I think Jeter had an RBI hit at some point, and it's just, at the end of the day, I think they just had a little too much talent. It really seemed like they had the Phillies just overmatched there. It kind of looked like they had everybody in the league a little bit overmatched. And Matsui won Player of the World Series MVP, and he obviously deserves it. The other guy I was thinking of was Johnny Damon, but when you're looking back on it, Matsui deserves it, and that's saying a lot because Matsui missed some at-bats because of the games in the National League. And, they did it with Brett Gardner never doing anything, Nick Swisher never did anything, Cano was garbage, Teixeira, for the most part, did nothing, although he did have a couple of big hits here and there. A-Rod was very average, although he did have some big hits. Jeter was very good. And at the end of the day, it just seems like eventually you're going to lose against this lineup because they got too many good players. Eventually, you're going to give up a home run. Eventually, you're going to give up doubles. Eventually, you're going to give up a lot of runs. And this year just came together for them at the right time, and they're world champions. For the Phillies, I don't know exactly. I praised them earlier in the season, earlier in the playoffs, for having a really good pitching staff. Not a good bullpen. Neither team had a great bullpen, but the Phillies didn't. And but they had really good starting pitching. I really liked what they brought to the table there, and this series it really didn't show up. They needed Cole Hamels to pitch a lot better than he did the whole postseason, but especially with his one start in the series, he didn't give them what they needed. Blanton, I know, is a number 4 starter, but he pitched not so well, and they needed better from him. Pedro tonight pitched very shaky, gave up 4 runs in 4 innings before getting pulled, which is, maybe he didn't get lit up, but he didn't pitch well, so you gotta kind of call him out on that a little bit. So they didn't get what they needed from him. Obviously the bullpen was not very good, but the bullpen isn't very good in general, so that's really not that's really not surprising or anything. So and Jay Happ had a great regular season. I think he won Rookie of the Year, but he didn't give them all that much. So just a little bit of a letdown in the playoffs for those pitchers. I know playing the AL is very tough for the NL pitchers, but other than Cliff Lee, those guys just didn't bring it, and you have your final result. So although tonight the Phillies were only able to score 3 runs, that probably wouldn't have been enough no matter who was pitching, because against the Yankees you kind of need to score more runs than that. Looking at this series, obviously Chase Utley tried his hardest hitting those home runs, but wasn't enough. Jason Worth as well. Jason Worth hit his home runs, Ibanez had a nice couple of games there near the end, boosting his average above 300, but too many no-shows. Rollins was pretty average. Victorino was subpar. Ryan Howard, strikeout king, and when those four guys, Utley, Howard, Worth, and Ibanez, are hitting for power like they're supposed to, that's murderer's row, because you got Jimmy Rollins and Shane Victorino, who are both very solid at getting on base, and those guys, if they get on, you got four big-time power hitters coming up right after them, and they didn't, as a group, they didn't show up very well in this series. Howard and Ibanez particularly weren't hitting very much power, but, disappointing for them, but they still got a really good team. Better luck next year to them. They obviously won last year, and I have every reason to believe they're going to have a great chance at making the World Series again next year, maybe against these very same Yankees, but that remains to be seen. So, once again, Yankees win 7-3. They win the series 4-2. Hideki Matsui, MVP of the World Series. Yankees win, I guess, their 27th World Series, and I suppose that's about it. So, it was a fun baseball season, and now it's over. So it's time to move on fully to football, and obviously basketball is starting up. So, time to put the cap on this one, and I'll see you guys later.